Ahoy! This is Harry Hansen reminding you to like and subscribe to the show on YouTube by going to youtube.com at the Lager Room 5111 and clicking subscribe. Or just go to youtube.com and search for the Lager Room. Either way, it's as easy as falling off a log. Thanks a bundle.
Jimmy Jungle, well, you do to a dribble. But now you're going to slobber and you're crying in the middle of a goblet. Benihana, Benihana, Benihana. Hatchy, hatchy, hooky, hooky, mozzarella, itchy poo. Reading around the collar, heavy betting at the zoo. You're eating for lasagna on Wonder Woman with Madonna. With Madonna. Baklava. Baklava. Baklava.
All right, everybody, welcome out to the Get On With It Sports Show. It is Wednesday, June the 11th, 2025. Jersey Johnny coming at you. With me, as always, is none of them, Mr. RadioPete and Mr. Harry Lugnutz. Say hello, gentlemen.
Hello, gents.
Howdy. How are you, gents, this evening?
You know, just ecstatic.
Ecstatic because I'm wearing my new City Connect Mets merch.
Sure.
You
You're
know,
ready to go
when
be
you-
that guy in the first row that
I'm ready to be that guy in the
when
front
the
row.
opposing pitcher's on the mound, he waves his arms before every pitch. You know, you're ready
It
to
looks
be
like,
that guy.
It looks like a rejected Brooklyn Nets jersey.
You know what? I actually do think this is one of the better City Connect jerseys.
Well, I don't.
Well,
Look,
because there's no
the
bias
Mets.
there.
The Mets have an iconic logo. They don't. The City Connect. It's just a way of selling merchandise to idiots. Oh wait, I'm sorry.
No. You're right. You're right. You're not wrong. You're right. However, of the shitty City Connect, because some of them are fucking
Right.
disgusting.
Yes.
All right. Of the City Connect jerseys, I believe that this is one of the better ones.
Yeah. All right.
So there
All
you
right.
go.
I'll agree with
just
that.
one man's
I'll agree with
opinion.
It's
Just one man's
Just like syphilis is one of the better venereal diseases.
That you can get. Actually,
All
I heard
right.
somebody. There's been a couple of those chlamydia lately, but you know, that's
Chlamydia is making a comeback.
it's coming to making a comeback.
Is that the
Making a
clap? Is
comeback.
chlamydia the clap?
They're all the clap.
Oh,
I think they're all the
they're all
clap.
the
No,
clap.
I think
I think
gonorrhea is
they're
the
all the
clap, isn't it?
No, I don't know.
All right.
Who knows?
Well, there you go.
Somebody tell us. Somebody comment. Anybody out there? Nope. Okay. Anybody got the
Is there-
clap? We're off to a good
is there-
start. All right.
Is there a gynecologist
Do the least
in the
interesting
audience?
part of the
It's
show.
the
so we
BD
can get
show tonight. There you go,
it.
bud.
BD, Valentine's Day.
All right, let's get right to it.
Leave it a week, folks.
You know what? You love it. You can't live without it. Harry hates it, which is why we do it. It's Meme of the Week, and here it is.
We would have stopped it a long time ago. Not sure
All
who
right.
wins this one. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
McCafe, we sell crispy chicken sandwiches on Sundays, or Chick-fil-A. Our ice cream machines are always working.
I
Breakfast
think Chick-fil-A
closed
wins this one.
Sunday. Breakfast closed Sunday, so the breakfast is only closed Sunday.
Well,
No,
Chick-fil-A
they're-
is closed Sunday.
They're closed Sunday.
No, I know they're
Yeah.
closed Sunday, but it says breakfast closed Sunday. I know that's
Yeah,
two separate thoughts.
I think those are separate things. But
I know they
I
are.
think Chick-fil-A wins because McDonald's is known. I mean, Chick-fil-A is closed on Sunday, and that's just the way it is, and that sucks if you want to get Chick-fil-A on Sunday. But McDonald's, when they're open, at least 50% of the time, their ice cream machine does not work.
That's
So,
true.
and that means you can't get ice cream, and you can't get a shake.
Maybe
And
that's
on
what
a
Chick-fil-A is trying to
Sunday-
say.
Yeah, so I think Chick-fil-A wins.
Yeah, I
think
think
that's
you're
a-
right, but I think they're
that's a-
both pretty funny.
Yeah, both pretty good. I love it when these businesses have wars like that. I always enjoy that. So
There you go.
Mm.
there it is.
That's
Meme
the
of the
name of the
week.
week, folks.
Brought to you this week by no one.
No one.
We're
no one.
still looking for a sponsor. It could be you.
I got one that can be a sponsor for this week. I got one.
All right.
I saw it the other. I was meant to send it to you for sponsorship for this week, but I forgot. I got tied up and it fell by the wayside. But I remembered it right before, so I'm just going to say it.
Radio Shack.
No
Brought
need
to you by Radio Shack, a candy
Brought to
company.
you by Radio Shack from 1985. Thank you. Not Radio Shack, 1985. Thank you.
Radio Shack.
No, it was a post I saw that somebody put up on Facebook from the Flat Earthers Society. Okay?
Yeah.
And the Flat Earth Society, somebody made a post that said, there are so many flat earthers, just like us, all around the globe.
Yeah.
There
That
you
sounds
go.
about right. That sounds about right. I would love to have the Flat Earther Society be the sponsor of the Meme of the Week. That is.
And somebody just
classic.
told me, and I brought it up earlier, that's why I remembered it, right? I was talking about it earlier, and somebody brought up to me, the one thing that completely disproves the flat earthers is
Science.
if there was, besides science.
So there's two things.
Right?
Two things.
Right.
The
But
second.
one thing that they might be able to actually grasp, all right, is if there were such a thing as a flat Earth, at the edges of all the edges of the Earth, there would be casinos. All right, so the end of the world casino. Come stay in our rooms and look over the edge. That.
Yeah,
kind of
actually, isn't that something in Hitchhiker's Guide? There's like a
I
big
believe you're right,
restaurant or
Hitchhiker's Guide to
something
the
at the end of
Galaxy,
the
yeah.
universe, and
Yeah.
the cow
I think
comes
there's
out. And,
probably a Chick-fil-A and a McDonald's.
yeah,
It is, and
And
none
the
of the ice cream
Chick-fil-A
machines are working at all.
and the Chick-fil-A is closed because
We got to the end of the earth and there's no crispy chicken or
None whatsoever. There you
Yeah,
go.
there's no hate chicken available.
through some time-space anomaly, it's always Sunday at the edge of the
So-
world. And
There
Chick-fil-A
you
didn't
go.
know that when they opened, so the
Yeah, they're
restaurant's
like
just
they
Just
built the
just
restaurant and closed it.
Just our luck. I mean, if the world's going to end, I want it to be on April 14th on a Wednesday.
What year though? I need to know.
Well, so I don't
I
have to pay
write it down.
taxes that year.
Oh, I see where you're
Yeah.
going.
Gotcha.
All right.
Gotcha.
And I don't want to lose a weekend. So
So that's just as good a time as any for the.
Why the
Right.
hell not?
I know.
All right,
All right.
there we go. Let's talk some sports. Let's do the
talk
NBA
some
first.
sports. Let's go right to NBA. Right into NBA. Okay, so we
It's
got
the finals.
the finals going on, right?
The NBA Finals.
The NBA finals.
Your Houston Rockets against the New York Knicks. Hakeem Olajuwon versus Patrick Ewing.
All right,
Matchup
hold
for
on.
the
You
ages.
reset your watch. Okay, because you're going back about 31 years.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
let me.
sorry.
Let me.
I mean, I
throw
wouldn't
this at
mind
you.
to go back about 31 years, but
Let me throw a couple things at you here.
throw them out.
One,
Go for it.
because I was right about something. We talked weeks ago about who was going to go further as far as Indiana professional basketball teams go, the Fever or the Pacers. You both picked the Pacers to go to the conference finals. So
Which they
technically, you were right. I picked them to go to the finals, which is where they're going. So, and of course, the Fever.
We weren't wrong. You were just more right than we.
I was a little bit more right, and I will definitely make sure that I point that out because it doesn't happen very often.
Not so much.
And the other thing is we picked the NBA champion and the number of games. Harry, you picked Oklahoma City in 6. John, you picked them in 5. I took Indiana in 7. You guys are probably feeling a little bit better about that pick than I am at this point.
Well, I don't know. I think tonight's a must-win for OKC.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's hard
I
to.
mean,
tonight-
but after
That
game
is
one,
definitely a.
But
Yeah.
after game one and that ending, right? And you can go back and look at the Knicks game and that crazy
Right.
bounce, and you go, yeah, they came back and they won, but it was crazy and spectacular. How many
Indiana's
freaking
literally getting
Yeah.
bounces.
But they've gotten spanked in the other 2 games,
Well,
by and large. And so you
yeah.
say, how many times can you have that great? How many times can you do that and to win a game? And I'm not sure it's 4. It's hard to believe it's.
Yeah, I think
No, you're right,
tonight.
but
I think
right
whoever
now-
wins tonight
right
wins
now-
the series.
Oh no,
I
and OKC is going to win, and it's going to be a gentleman's sweep. Like I said, it's 5.
I think it'll be
OKC
6.
in 5. OKC in 5. But right now, the Thunder are doubling the Pacers' score right now.
Well,
Yeah.
but it doesn't.
It's
It
not
doesn't.
important, so
It's
It doesn't
8-4.
Yeah. Here's the thing. We all know what the keys are. OKC's got to get contributions from
Oh,
the
it's
guys
9-4
they
now.
didn't
There you
in game 1, and it all comes down to whether or not if Tyrese Halliburton scores 20 points,
go.
the Pacers
I'm
win.
kidding.
So, if he's a star, like, everybody's making him out to be, I just think it's hard for him against this. We talked about it last time. This OKC defense is really good. Now, they lost game 1 to the Nuggets too. They lost 3 games to the Nuggets. I think the Nuggets are a better team though than Indiana.
I believe that if the Nuggets had beaten OKC and gone to the Western Conference Finals, they would have beaten Minnesota as well.
Right.
And
this year, I think they would have.
Yeah, no.
But I think
the West was winning this, no matter what.
And I think OKC will. I think it was a little bit of a wake up call, but they do let people back in the games. And conversely, Indiana might be one of the best comeback teams that I've seen in a long time. They're never out of it.
I can't.
They're never out of it.
I can't stand it. I can't.
They're never out of it. And
I don't hate Indiana. I don't hate Indiana, but
part of it is their depth and their bench
team.
scoring. It's that sneaky beginning of the third period or end of the third period, beginning of the fourth period, where they're +6. All of a sudden, that 20-point lead is 14. They're back in the game, or that 14-point lead is whittled down to 7 or 8. They're never done. You can't count them out.
No, well, be honest with you.
I think series-wise, that's true.
I'm going to say this right now. Had OKC won the first game, then I honestly, this is weird to say, but then I think Harry would have been right. It would have went 6. But I think that was a wake-up call for OKC losing game 1. They're not dropping another game. They're winning 4 straight, 5-1.
We'll see if you're right.
4-1 in 5 games.
It's to me, it's on Carlisle. I know Halliburton has to be a star and make his shots and be who he is, but Carlisle's got to figure out how to run the offense so that he can get his shots, because he has not been getting them. And
Siakam too.
Right, and to a certain extent, they haven't been making them too. I mean, that was a bricklayers convention for a decent portion of the second quarter the other night.
They're tying them up.
Yeah,
they're tying them up. This is a good defensive team.
It is. I'm not trying to take anything away. What I'm saying is Indiana's got to figure out a way to at least somewhat get around this defense and keep it close. And and like I said, hopefully not have to rely on a last-second shot. But
all right,
I still have hope for them. I think they are tough. They are resilient. You're right. They don't give up. But I don't know. I'm not feeling good about my prediction of them winning in 7. But if they do win, I think it is going to be in 7, obviously. Don't expect them to come back and
we shall see. Probably one of the lower watched NBA finals in quite some time. Question for you guys. Moving on from that, staying on basketball. It's been a little bit of time now, but obviously it's happened since we last did this thing. Let's talk about Tom Thibodeau. I mean, is this is one of the strangest moves ever?
I'm going to start, not finish. Start
Everyone
this conversation
is now champing at the bit and drooling.
By
we all
saying
want to talk about Thibs,
this,
and we should.
I'm going to start this conversation by saying this. Jim Dolan is a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
There you go. We'll start it there. Let's start from this point and go from there. There you go.
Yeah.
All right. You remember, let me go second, because Harry, I know you're going to have way more intelligence.
No, I actually don't. I don't have much to say.
I have a few things.
Well, let me just say, you remember last show, I said, did the Knicks think that maybe Thibs was just not the guy to take them to the next level? As good as he has done.
He certainly took them to 2 levels beyond where they were.
Yes. But their goal obviously is a championship. Now, I'm not saying that thinking was right. I'm not saying that thinking was right. I'm just saying, I don't know. Maybe that was the thought process. It seems to me that this was a done deal way before the Knicks were out of the playoffs. This decision, I think,
Tom
was
Thibodeau
made.
Was saying,
is if they won a championship.
Is if they won the championship.
If they won a championship. Or maybe if Jalen Brunson had been screaming from the rafters to keep him there. Because Brunson is the star, and the star can often keep a coach around if he really wants him. And he didn't trash him, and there was a lot of talk. How much of it was true, we don't really know, about discontent amongst the players and the management. And then there's the whole Leon Rose, who used to be Thibs' agent. And all. Right. Well, but the players have the power. We know that. So maybe that could have saved Thibodeau, but Brunson, maybe that's not his style. Maybe he didn't feel like maybe that's sort of
his
a
dad is the
full-throated
assistant
endorsement.
coach.
But yeah, so, but I think this decision was made, and
okay. So if the
now that
decision
doesn't
was
mean
made,
doesn't mean they should have stuck
okay,
with
no,
it.
no, hold on. So
But
you're not the only person who thought this. There's been a lot of people in New York sports saying that the Knicks have a plan and that this was a done deal and that they're executing it. So if that's the case, is it a done deal with Jason Kidd? And if so, is that really an upgrade?
now that depends on who you talk to. But I mean, Jason Kidd is not a coach that you bring in to interview. The Knicks don't want to interview him.
No.
They want to hire him.
He's making a decision. He doesn't even have to come to New York.
Look,
he has to make a decision.
The Mavs have said the Knicks can't talk to him, right? The Mavs have said that. But if anybody,
it would be a trade. It would be a trade.
Well, no, I know, but they were not given permission to even talk to Jason Kidd. That's the thing. The Mavs
right,
said
but
that.
if Jason Kidd says, I'm going to talk to them.
If Jason Kidd goes to the Mavs and says, fuck you, I'm going to talk to the Knicks, he's going to talk to the Knicks.
Yeah.
So, right? Of anybody that's in this game.
What scenario is worse? What scenario is worse for Jason Kidd? Leaving a Dallas organization that had one of the best owners in the league and now one of the worst, who just traded away one of the top 5 players in the league.
Yeah.
And now has the number 1 pick in the draft.
Right.
So imagine they kept Luka.
Or do you want to go someplace where the organization has had, 10 coaches in the last 15 years? And somebody who was just hired in 2020 who won back-to-back 50-win seasons and brought you to the
24 playoff wins in 5 years.
Yeah. Now, granted,
and gets fired.
Yeah. And look, the Knicks made the Knicks made a big move when they decided that Karl Anthony Towns was going to be a better fit for them than Julius Randle, and they lost some big pieces.
Yeah, what was the
bench?
What was the bigger move though? What was the bigger move? The trade for Cat with Randle and them up to Minnesota, or was it all of the picks to the Nets for Mikal Bridges?
Well,
what was more like detrimental to the future of the Nets?
To the future, the picks, to the team as it is right now, the trade, because they lost Hartenstein. They weren't able to keep him. Now that might have happened.
We've said this before on the show. Hartenstein
and Josh Hart,
of all of the pieces that the Knicks don't have.
Not Josh Hart, DiVincenzo and
Dante DiVincenzo. Yeah. But Hartenstein, more than Dante DiVincenzo, I believe was the missing piece for this year.
Look, here's the reality. The Knicks are not a championship team. And if you want to really upset the apple cart again and go out and get Giannis or spend money, okay, then maybe that's the move, and maybe they want to get some. Thibs is like any other coach in the league from his generation. Half these players are going to fucking hate him, and you know what? Who gives a shit? Okay,
I don't care.
It's the same thing with Michael Malone here in Denver. It just happens. You burn yourself out. Well, you got Dante DiVincenzo in the preseason game or screaming at the sidelines going, let dad coach the team, which was a direct, reference to Rick Brunson.
Sure.
So, and this whole thing that Brunson didn't want Thibodeau out, bullshit.
It's bullshit. Of course it is.
Bullshit. Now, I don't think it's Jason Kidd. I don't think Jason Kidd is who.
I think it's Johnny Bryant, to be honest with you. Because I don't think. I mean, Michael Malone's in there, but I think it's Johnny Bryant more than it's Michael Malone.
All right.
Before After Jason Kidd.
Let me say a couple things. Number one, whoever liked Thibs, whoever didn't like Thibs, like him enough to unofficially protest, right? Nobody was sitting out. Nobody was demanding a trade. Nobody was exercising that player power. And now, again, we're talking about big-time stars to do that, like Kevin Durant and, the guys who... so maybe no one on the Knicks has that kind of juice, but nobody went through any of that.
Do they honestly think? I mean,
They wouldn't.
And
They're not going to do that publicly.
Look, clearly it's not the case, right? But do they honestly
if
think
it was
that it's
terrible,
a shot like that Brunson's dad has? I mean, let's say Jason Kidd comes into town. Do you honestly think Brunson's dad's having more power than he had with Thibodeau?
Probably not.
Possibly.
But here's the thing.
I don't think so. Not with Kidd.
But here's the thing about Jason Kidd. If you're Jason Kidd, do you want to stay in Dallas, where Mark Cuban is not the guy anymore, and they've traded away Luka, and yeah, you're going to get the number one pick, but what else are you going to get?
Number one pick is not winning you an NBA championship next year. That's
not Cooper Flag, no.
Not Cooper Flag. Now, or do you want to come to New York, where, let's face it,
where you played like
most
of your career,
where you coached, where you are going to be more loved than and probably more hated, coercedly, than you are in Dallas, right?
But he knows that. He knows that.
He does. He does, and he knows how to deal with it because he's done it. But look, Brunson and Cat, not big time defensive players.
Horrible,
right? So if you're Jason Kidd, and yes, both owners of both those teams are terrible, right. But at least you're coming in, and you're not Thibs trying to coach your two stars on the team who don't play any defense. Right. So it might be a better situation. You might get fired in 2 years. You might get fired in 2 years in Dallas if you've got the number one draft pick and you're still terrible and you stay. Who knows what the owners are going to do there? They traded Luka. They made one of the
top
biggest
5 players in the NBA.
Dumbass fucking moves in the history of the NBA.
Games.
I'd rather go play for Dolan, who is temperamental, and again, it seems like up until this particular point was staying out of it, as he said he was. Now you might not like Rose either, but I think for Kidd to come back to New York and try, everybody wants to do it. Well, not everybody, but a lot of guys want to do it in a place like New York. You know what I mean? That's storied. It's the city. It's New York. It's the Knicks.
Jason Kidd doesn't give a shit about New York.
No, I think that's a better gig for him. Both bad owners, but
he doesn't give a fuck about New York. And I don't think of Jason Kidd as he was. I think of him as a Maverick and a Phoenix Sun. Yeah, he played for the Nets. All right, whatever. I mean, I don't think he also played for the Nets in New York back before,
Yeah, and they went to the finals twice.
And they did, and they
lost to the fucking Shaq Kobe Lakers,
and people
and
were still talking. What I'm saying though is that people were talking about them.
To the Spurs, who were the mini dynasty.
Kidd was a great player. I'm not sure he's going to change a team.
I'm not saying he's the right fit. I don't know if he's going to do a good job if he comes to New York or not. I'm just saying, if I'm Kidd, I want that's a better spot for me.
I don't think there is an option C for him. He's under contract.
Quick baseball break into our NBA conversation. Nimmo just went deep for the second time in like 3 innings in the game tonight. So it's like It's like 5 or 6 nothing. That's granted they're playing the Nationals, but
I'm just saying. I think if I'm Jason Kidd, that's a better place for me. Is New York. I
agree. I agree with.
I don't know if he's going to do well
on his plate. I would, if I were Jason Kidd, I'd pick the Knicks over staying in Dallas. But I honestly think that I think it's one or the other. I think it's Jason Kidd or.
Of course, you have to look at the flip side of that. Is
I don't think
it's going to be a trade. Yeah. So what are the Knicks going to have to give up?
Right.
Yeah. Who knows?
Now maybe they want to get rid of Towns, and that's part of the deal. You never know. There's a lot of talk about that.
Who's replacing Towns?
Yeah, who's going to trade for Towns?
I don't know. I'm just saying this is what.
Well, they're talking
guys
about
who know more than me are saying.
When they're talking about Giannis, they're talking about trading Towns to Milwaukee for Giannis.
Right.
But they're going to have to do way more. They're going to have to give up way more than that for Giannis.
No, well, yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean,
it's not just Karl Anthony Towns.
Right.
Yes, they got some G League players they can send up to.
Yeah, G League meaning half their starters.
Yeah.
Anyway,
2 years out of
we shall see. To be continued. James Dolan, still the worst owner in basketball.
Yeah, it was great. They were doing great.
Yeah, until he
got involved. You would think he would learn, but
now here's the other. Just sell MSG. Jim
Here's
Dolan,
the other thing I
sell
heard.
the Garden. Please sell the fucking Garden, Jim.
Here's the other
Please.
thing I heard that I thought was very interesting. Harry, do you have plans to, at some point, is it on your list? Because I'm just asking you because it's close, to go to the Sphere?
No.
No. So you're not interested in
Am I supposed to say
experiencing-
yes?
No, you weren't.
Okay.
I'm just curious. Because
I
supposedly
mean, it depends.
it's an
Depends
incredible-
on who's playing there, but if it,
Right.
if
No,
it's
that's
yeah.
so. But you're not like
If
I
the
got to go
Talking
there
Heads
sometime.
reunite and play the Sphere, then yes.
Then you might go.
The
All right. Well,
the Talking
so
Heads
what
are
I-
touring actually this year.
Or David Byrne, yeah.
so what I heard was
David Byrne and Tina Weymouth are actually touring this year. I've
Dolan
heard.
was the Knicks have been good because for the last several years or whatever, Dolan's been involved with the Sphere because that's his company that built it, and he's been distracted. And
There you
now that's done, and it works, and it runs, and now he's back, and he's like,
So
"Oh,
we need
time
the
to put-"
Sphere too.
Yeah, we need Sphere
Electric
too, like
Boogaloo.
somewhere far
in
away.
Dubai,
He's got his
in
fingers
Dubai.
back
It
in the
is-
pie, and now we
How
see the
about
results.
Dubai?
I used to believe, and maybe this is because Uncle Steve has been the owner of the Mets for several years now, but I used to believe that the Wilpons were worse owners than Jim Dolan. No, I mean they were damn close.
It's close, but
It's
yeah,
They were damn
I
close.
would
But Jim
agree.
Dolan.
I would
Here's the
agree.
problem. The Wilpons were just moronic owners. Jim Dolan is a detrimental owner to his organization.
Yeah.
He leaves the Rangers alone. That's why they actually have a chance here and there. He cannot get away from the Knicks. And that is his biggest fucking problem. Go away, Jim. Just collect money and sit in an office and leave Leon
just
Rose
stop.
and the Knicks alone.
Well, obviously
Stop.
Leon Rose doesn't have a say either. Leon Rose used to be Thibodeau's agent.
He was his agent. Yeah, exactly.
Well, but
So, I
supposedly
mean-
that's a source of friction. They're not like that didn't help their relationship. Supposedly,
I don't know. Whatever.
All right, so we'll see
yeah.
what happens with that. All right, let's do a little overrun.
Well, I've got no chance of losing this time.
All right, a little over under, and we're doing it because it's basketball related. Because as you know, the fastest growing sport in America is the WNBA.
Pickleball. Oh, no.
Nope, pickleball has been relegated to 1A. We won't call it
1A.
Let's call it 1A.
Still a subsidized business that's losing money.
Money, that's not what it's about.
But thank you, Caitlin Clark, for at
Wait,
least
pickleball or
getting us
WNBA?
closer. WNBA.
I think the pro pickleball, players have to pay.
Yeah, right.
Pro pickleballs
Get into
are doing
it.
just fine. Yeah, they're doing
Yeah.
just fine.
All right, so last show we talked about the Liberty and the Lynx, who had not lost a game, and we did an
Yep.
over-under of whether they were going to lose their next game or maybe two games, and they did not. So we're going to revisit that and up the ante a little bit. So the Liberty are 9-0 right now. I don't know who they're playing next. I don't care. We're going to put the over-under for their first loss at 12.5. So will they get to 13-0, or will they lose before that? Who wants to go
Over.
first?
They're 9-0 right now,
9-0.
Over.
and we're saying will they go to 13-0?
Yep.
Well, do they play
over-under-
the Lynx? Do they play the Lynx?
I don't know. I don't care. I didn't research it.
Over. I'm
Um,
saying over. They're going to continue this. Over.
Let me see here. I gotta.
He's got to look at.
So the New York Liberty. Let's see. Come on, you fucking piece of shit website.
Jim Dolan owns it.
Yeah. So they play.
Next 4 games you need to look at.
They play the Fever on the 14th.
But that's a win unless Clark comes back.
Yeah.
She won't be back by the 14th. So
I don't think so, right?
So they play Indiana, Atlanta, Phoenix. So that would be 9, 10, 11, 12, Seattle, and Golden State. I mean, I think the Warriors could beat them. Sorry.
I love how Harry is actually researching this instead of just going with his gut. Let me see what the point differential between the Liberty and Western Conference teams.
I think that they will.
the Warriors can beat them.
I think that they will make it to 13-0. I think they'll make
Steph
it to 13.
So they're going to go over. Steph Curry have a sister who plays for Golden State Warriors.
No, they're actually. I didn't know there was a WNBA. I forgot there was actually a Golden State team. So that's why the joke is funny.
All right, I'm going to say over 2. All right, the Lynx are also 9-0. Their over/under for the first loss is at 11.5. So they're either going to win 3 more to get to 12-0, or they will lose one of those next couple games. John?
I think over 2. I think they're gonna get to 12.
Yeah, they play the Storm, I think, tonight, and then I think they're let's just say
over. I'll say under just to be contrarian, because that always works out well. All right, now we're gonna look towards yeah, for me. Hey, I was right about Indiana going to the finals. So
what I was trying to see is
just more right.
I was trying to see if they play New York, if the Liberty play the Lynx, when that game is.
Because that's gonna, honestly, to be quite honest with you,
that game is July 30th.
That could be the one. What, July?
July 30th.
Both could be undefeated until July 29th.
Got it. They're both undefeated by July.
Through July 29th. Yeah.
That would be something.
No, they'll both lose a game by then. It's 2 months. They'll both lose
probably.
But that's the game we're looking forward to, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Why
not? All right, let's go to the other end of the spectrum. The Dallas Wings are 1-9. So we're going to do the over/under on their second win, and they are 10 games in. So we are going to say 14.5 is the over/under. So will they lose the next 5 games, or will they win one of those next 5 games? And Harry,
Phoenix. They play Phoenix, Las Vegas, Golden State, and Connecticut, who they've already beaten.
Yeah,
they'll win.
I think they're going to win against Connecticut again on June 20th. So I think they will lose 3 more games and then win.
Yeah, so it's under.
So we're going under. All right, I will go under as well. All right, next up is Connecticut, who is 2-7. And for a total of 9, their over/under is 12.5.
I'll go over.
I'm going over on that one, yeah. Go stay.
All right. I will agree with you. I will. And last up is the Chicago Sky, 2-6 at this point, heading into tonight's action. I have no idea who's playing tonight. And their over/under is 11.5.
So you're going to say they're going to lose? They got to lose 6 games before they win another one? Is that what you're saying?
No, they've got their total games is 8. So either they're gonna
total, all right.
Yeah. So they're either gonna win 4 more. So they're either gonna win 4 more and get to 12 wins, or somewhere within that one of their before they play 12 games, they'll get another win.
Before they, I see what you're saying. Okay.
So will they lose their next 4 games?
Well, they play Connecticut. No, I think that they will win before that.
They play Connecticut in the next 4 games?
Yes.
Then over, yeah.
So you guys are saying Connecticut's going to get a win somewhere.
We just said Connecticut's.
No, I say Chicago's going to
Connecticut's going to lose.
Yeah.
Connecticut's losing.
Connecticut is the key to all of our picks here.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go over because it's Chicago.
So the Whalers are the key to all of our picks.
Yeah, the Whalers are the key.
We have done more WNBA than any other sports program.
Well, listen,
we're
gonna talk tennis next, so that's.
We skipped over hockey. There's a.
Well, no, we're gonna go back to hockey. Actually, I actually don't
skip. We just started with basketball, so we finished with basketball.
So that's over/under. So
all right.
I don't have a tennis background, believe it or not. So.
Good.
I don't have a tennis theme.
We're never going to need it.
We'll just put the regular get on with the background.
I'll put the football one up, and no one can see what it is.
Exactly.
All right, so let's talk a little hockey. By the way, a quick update for us. We all said 7 games. You guys took Florida. I'm sure that's looking good for you. I'm holding out for Edmonton, but we all said it's going to go 7. So we will
Edmonton has to play more disciplined, and man, I think I think 7 might be pushing it because I think they've got a goaltender who's shell shocked now. It's just
it's.
I don't know.
Edmonton, right? They were behind in so many games, right? Coming into this series, they are the comeback guys. I think the last game, I think I heard Draisaitl and McDavid did not have a point, which is the first time that's happened since 2012 or something ridiculous like that, or who knows? It's been years. So, so holding out hope, but when they don't look good, they don't look good at all.
Well, here's the thing. It's not so much that they don't look good. When Florida wants to turn it on, I don't remember a team that can turn it on like this. You look away for 2 minutes, and they've scored 3 goals.
Well, I mean, look.
Right. When you've got
that last game on Monday, that was disgusting. 6-1.
Penalties. Yeah, but too many penalties.
I mean,
too many penalties, and then Edmonton just kind of fell apart at the end, which you can understand. I mean, they're pros, so you don't want to see that. But when you're getting hammered with like 4 or 5 penalties in the first period, I think, right off the bat, and you've got somebody in the penalty box for like 8 to 10 minutes over the course of that period,
it doesn't bode well.
You're giving up a couple of power play goals, and it's very difficult to come back from that.
I'm going to say this right now. Or the Edmonton's winning tomorrow night, and even in the series up. And then they're going to go back. This is going 6. Florida will.
So you're going to call 6 now. Johnny's going to recall 6.
I mean, it may go 7. Edmonton's still winning this. So Edmonton's going to win tomorrow night and even it up.
Yeah,
but then Florida's
in the immortal words of Ann Wilson, they're going to even it up.
All right, another old reference.
I try specifically.
At least that was 70s, not 50s.
I think it's even it up, even it up, even it out, isn't it?
Even it up, even it up, even it up.
Yeah. I think it's even it
out. All right.
Anyway,
let's not remember. Trying to stay out of the weeds. Trying to stay out of the weeds, guys. Let's stay out of the sand traps.
You telling me you don't want to get in the weeds with the Wilson sisters?
No, I don't. Nope.
No, because I actually attended a Heart concert with Harry, and he fell asleep during it. But that's besides the point. So.
Yeah, that's because we're too far away to see them.
And you worked from like 3 a.m. too.
I think that
it's in '88, folks, in 1988.
I think that unfortunately, if I go with my gut here, I think Florida wins the next game.
I don't.
I think Edmonton wins 1 more game, and this ends in 5. It's or 6.
It can't. If 6. If Edmonton wins 1 more game, it's got to go 6.
I think it's going to go. Florida's going to go up 3-1. Edmonton will make it 3-2, and I think Florida wins it. But anyway,
I am so over Florida.
Yeah, look, Edmonton has the home ice too, so they.
Well, that's what I'm saying, right? They split in Edmonton. They're going to split in Florida.
Let's hope so. I hope you're right. I just don't see it, but we shall see.
We'll hold out for him. Hold out. I think we're all.
It's been a good series so far, though. I've actually watched more of. To be honest, I've watched more minutes of the NHL Stanley Cup Finals than I have of the NBA Finals. It just happens.
I wonder why.
It just has to do that. I've had other things going on during the NBA Finals where I haven't been able to watch it. But, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's you.
He will be missed.
He will be missed. And there's speculation that Mika might be leaving as well. They're revamping. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Mika's staying put. But either way, Chris Kreider no longer a New York Ranger. So.
All right, riveting.
All right.
Well, for Rangers fans, it is.
Sure.
Yeah, not necessarily for Islanders or Devils fans, i.e., the two of you. But
all right,
there you go. All right, cool. Just a
quickie.
That's pretty quick.
That was quick. There you go. It's nothing but if not just a quickie. There you go. All right, folks. tonight's just a quickie is for the two of these gents right here. We're going to start with Radio Pete, or we're not. He's standing up. We're going to start with Harry Lugnutz. There you go.
Yes. What are we doing?
Top 3 NBA championships matchups of all time. Top 3 NBA championship matchups of all time.
Of all time. Wow.
Of all time. And, if you don't want to go back to the 30s, don't.
Well, I think you can break it down. I think that there's 2 eras of the Celtics and Lakers that you have to put in there.
Of course.
You have to put the sort of Wilt, Russell, Cousy, Jerry West, Havlicek-ish. I think you have to put the Lakers, Celtics twice. I think the 80s, obviously. And then
a specific year or just going
I don't know. I can't. I'm not like you. I can't Rain Man my way through this and give you the exact years of when. But no, I mean, what was the one? I mean, whatever ones have gone 7. I'll say this too. I mean, in more recent history, even though I'm not, I think that when LeBron went back to Cleveland and they beat Golden State, I mean, that was a hell of an NBA Finals. You look at the Jordan era Bulls. There wasn't any that did any of them go 7? Any of the NBA Finals that the Bulls won? I don't think any of them went 7.
Jordan never went to a Game 7.
Yeah, so I'm looking at it more like what was a really deciding Game 7. I mean, as a Knicks fan, I think you have to look at the Knicks Lakers Game 7 in what was it, 71, 72 season, or 70, 71 season,
72, 73 season.
No, that's the second.
Oh no, 69, 70 season.
Okay, well, 70 when everybody remembers that as the Willis Reed game, but it was really the Walt Frazier game where he just dominated. But that was a hell of a series, and if you look at who played on those teams, that was pretty fantastic. So, yeah, I mean, I think
those are your 3, just generally 80s.
Yeah, I think
80s
so.
Celtics Lakers.
Yeah,
is one of them.
Yeah,
Cleveland and Golden State, and when Cleveland won, and then the 69, 70 Knicks.
Yeah.
All right,
I would say.
Radio Pete.
I will say, I think it was, let me see, I'm looking here. 84 Celtics over the Lakers. I think that's the year you're thinking of.
Yeah. That was probably the greatest one ever.
Yeah, I think so. I'm also going to say when LeBron and the Cavs beat the Warriors.
Yeah.
Same thing.
I think that was a monumental feat, and I may be more of a LeBron fan than either of you guys, but that was, again, he didn't do it all by himself, but yeah, I am.
Of course not. Never.
But that was a pretty big deal. And then that time the Nets won. Oh no, that wasn't that great.
Well, that was ABA. I said
the
NBA.
Yeah. No, that's so. You know what? I'll take 1970 Knicks over the Lakers. I know you guys are Knicks fans, and
same. No, you got the same.
I mean, look, as Knicks fans also, I mean, we didn't come out on top, and it wasn't the prettiest series of all time, but the 94 NBA Finals was a hell of an NBA Finals.
I would agree with both of you on all 3 of these. Yeah. Honestly, I would. But I would definitely make mention that I would put the 94 Knicks Rockets as an honorable mention in there, because it was a great series. And if it wasn't for a couple of things going on that weekend, Harry was in New Jersey, and OJ was driving around with Al Cowlings, and it was a busy weekend. So things happened to Starks, and caused them to not win. But
I don't think any of the
Bulls
I don't think any of the Bulls.
Nobody but Harry and I knew that he was in Jersey for a reason, but that's besides the point. Another story for another day.
I don't think any of the Bulls championships were really great championships because it was never a Game 7. They were exciting.
No.
The way the games ended, with Michael making a shot, or what was it, Paxton or Steve Kerr, or whoever it was.
Some of the Spurs
they weren't great
championships are pretty good.
Except for 99.
Yeah.
I didn't like that Spurs victory. 99-2000 there. Wasn't too thrilled with that.
I think one of the most shocking NBA finals that I remember, and again, we were young kids, but when the Sixers beat the Lakers, what was that, 1983, 84, 83?
83, I believe. Yeah, 83.
That was when they finally broke through. I mean, they swept them. And you're talking about Moses Malone. That was maybe the best single finals performance I've seen by a player, with the exception of maybe Dirk Nowitzki and Jokic. Moses Malone was amazing.
A monster, yeah.
He was.
Yeah.
Just incredible.
We weren't young kids, but yeah.
Well, we were teenagers.
Yeah.
That's young.
Young compared to us now, but
yeah. But
40 is young compared to us now.
Moses Malone doing that against Kareem, Magic, Bob McAdoo, Jamal Wilkes, James Worthy. The list goes on and on. Anyway, that's one of the more memorable ones for me. I also, when Dallas won with Dirk, that was also a pretty memorable. Just because, God, it was nice to watch the fucking Heat lose. Anyway,
there you go. All right,
that's
cool.
Good point.
There you go.
Good
Just
point.
a quickie.
All right,
tonight's just a quickie. All right, there you go.
Let's do a little. Are they?
What is real?
What is real? How do you define real? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain.
Pretty sure none of that's real.
You're not real.
For real, for real, for real. Yeah.
What is real?
All right. Are they for real? This is a little baseball. I don't really talk a lot of baseball, but looking at the standings, I wanted to get your thoughts on a couple of teams because there's a few surprises or semi-surprises there.
Oh, yeah.
And I got 4 teams for you. I got the Tampa Bay Rays, who, they're selling pieces of the roof of the, what was it, Tropicana Field or whatever? The roof got destroyed. So, yeah, you can actually buy a piece of the roof.
Buy a piece of the roof.
Got the Los Angeles Angels we're going to talk about. Going to talk about the Giants. And we're going to talk about the Cardinals. And as you know, are they for real can mean a lot of different things on this show. And right now, the Giants are in second place in the NL West. The Cardinals are in second place in the NL Central. The Angels are in second place in the AL West. And Tampa Bay is a little bit behind the Blue Jays for third in the AL East. Maybe the least surprising of the 4. So are they for real in this case means, will these 4 teams be in reasonable, and you'll have to define that yourself, playoff contention on September 1st?
All right.
So we got a couple and a half months to go. So, and I would say do we want to define what that is at this point? What reasonable playoff contention is?
Reasonable playoff contention can mean anything. Depends on,
How about, will they be in playoff contention? Meaning, will they,
Well, I mean, in other words, if you say, okay, they're 5 games out of the playoffs, I would say that's reasonable contention at the beginning of September.
Yeah.
Barely. If they're 10 games out, but they're mathematically still in it, that's not particularly, you know what I mean?
Let's say this, maybe, are they at least within striking distance of within 2 to 3 games of a wild card spot?
Okay, that's fair. Let me write that down. 2 to 3 games of the wild card. Okay.
So what date? September 1st, you're saying?
September 1st.
Okay.
So let's go with Tampa Bay. Johnny?
Tampa Bay first within 2 to 3 games.
2 to 3 games of the wild card on September 1st. Are they for real?
Yeah, I mean, Yeah, I can't see them not being. I mean, right now, if the season ended, they'd have a wild card. So,
Harry, I think we were talking about maybe 3 teams coming out of the AL East, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think what's going to happen though in
right now, the wild cards would be the Blue Jays, the Rays, and the Twins.
Yeah,
would be the 3 wild card teams. Right now.
Yeah,
in that order.
Yeah, right.
So, Harry, you going to give it a thumbs up?
Yeah, here's my take on it is that, you know, I think Toronto and I think Boston's going to have a better second half of the season. I think the Orioles are probably going to still wind up in last. These teams play each other a lot. So that's the only thing that could hurt Tampa. And then, you know, you also have the Guardians and the Twins, and I think the Royals eventually, who should start to gain some ground, and that all counts towards, you know, the wild card. So I do think that
matter if they get there; they just need to be within 2 or 3 games of the wild card.
I think they will be. I think they will be. I think they score enough runs that they will be. And,
I mean, all the teams you just mentioned
they've got
could
good
all
pitching.
be within 2 to 3 games of the wild card on September 1st.
Yeah, I think they will be. I think they will.
I'm going to agree with you. I think, aren't they playing at like a Yankees spring training facility? I think I heard
they
that.
are.
So
they
some
are.
of that magic's going to rub off. So yeah, I think they'll be within 2 or 3 games. They might even have the wild card slot at that time. All right, so let's talk about the Angels. Mike Trout is playing well, and as Trout goes, so go the Angels. But do they have enough really over the next couple of months? Can he stay healthy over the next couple of months?
I don't think so.
To stick around. I mean, looking at that division.
I mean, they're only 2.5 games out.
Yeah,
not that they
look,
can't make
Harry, you're in
make a
Houston.
push.
Harry, you love Houston. You said there, I think you picked them to win the division. Seattle is underperforming. Texas is, you know, who knows? Hey, look, the A's are the A's. So they're going to win, as you say, these teams play each other a lot, so they're going to win some of those games against the Angels. How about the A's? It's 26 wins. Not bad.
No.
But we
but
expect them to do better than we...
The fact that they got 26 wins might have something to do with the fact that they are playing in, you know, we got 2 teams playing in minor league ballparks. No.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's... So I'm going to go first, and I'm going to say no. I don't think they can hang around.
I don't either. I think they're playing above where they should be. So no, I don't think. I think that, you know, not that they can't make a push in September, but I don't think they're going to be within 2 or 3 games on September.
Well, that's the thing. Like, they have a history of not making any moves.
Right.
So if you're going to just rely, and I can't believe that both Seattle and Texas will be, you know, as mediocre as they've been for the entire year. But Harry, what do you think?
I'm on the bubble with them. You know, the teams that are behind, unless somebody starts to I think what'll happen is you'll start to see a spread between the top of the wild card standings and those contending for it. So I'm going to say no, but I don't think they'll be much. I think they'll be within 4 or 5 games.
They might be close, but not quite within 2 or 3.
Yeah,
but wouldn't it be nice to see them?
No, I don't.
No, you don't care about the Angels?
I don't care. I used to when Reggie Jackson and Bobby Grich and Brian Downing and, you know, played there. I mean, they would have beaten the Mets in '86. Let's be honest.
You hate the Angels because Ohtani used to be there. So the stain of Ohtani is
no. They hold no allure to me. I forget about them.
There's like for me, there's sort of this. Well, they've been, you know, lousy for a long time, and so I like to see teams that were not good do well. But the ownership, and they just don't do anything. They've never. You got one of the guy, probably one of the all-time greats in Mike Trout, right? When it's all said and done, he's a surefire Hall of Famer. The guy's incredible, and you had the guy who's maybe the best player or second best player in baseball or third best player in baseball.
Yeah, they couldn't.
Shohei, and they just couldn't do anything. But even when they had him, for, you know, their ownership is terrible, so it's hard to root for them. But they're lousy, so I want them to do well. So, all right, let's move on to the St. Louis Cardinals, who are 5 games behind the Cubs, 2.5 out of the wild card going into tonight's action, and they're the Cardinals. We thought they'd hang around. They're going to be probably a spoiler team that's going to beat somebody who's ascending and maybe keep them out of the race or whatever. But right now, again, they're one game better in the loss column than Milwaukee, and 2 over Cincinnati, and 1 game in the win column over Cincinnati. So can they hang on? Are they for real, or are they just playing well right now and surging?
Well, they're not playing well. They've lost 4 in a row, and they're 3-7 in their last 10. So they're heading in the wrong direction. And they got to play a tough Cubs team, and like you said, I think a Milwaukee team that's heading in a better direction. I think Cincinnati will be a little better than when it's all said and done.
It's a tough division between
it's
the
a
Cubs.
Tough division. They're going to beat up on each other a little bit.
Between the Cubs, between Cincinnati playing well this year, and between Milwaukee, I'm going to say no. They're not.
I'm going to say no too. But
again, they play spoiler a lot. They're right there. They're always in the mix.
They're always good.
But I don't think they're going to be within 2 or 3 games of the wild card on September 1st. So no.
Yeah, this is just, again, sort of same situation. Can't believe Cincinnati and Milwaukee are going to be, right around 500 for particularly not by the end of the season. And
they have a pretty good team. They're a little bit of an older team.
Yeah,
and
they might get a little bit worn down, and we'll see if they make any moves. But the real main thing about the reason I'm going to say no is because it's the Cardinals. So fuck them. All right.
They're always good. They're a great organization.
I know. But all right, next up is the San Francisco Giants, who nobody should have.
San Francisco Giants.
Nobody should have slept on the Giants, right? We all should have realized we maybe got stars in our eyes about the Dodgers, and of course I love the Padres. So, but
straight out of the bat, yes, they're going to be.
No one should be particularly surprised, but a couple games back of the best team in the game, in the Dodgers, maybe a little bit better than.
Are they the best team in the game, though? Are they the best team in the game?
Yeah, they are.
Are they?
On paper, but I don't. Their
schedule
is not the best.
On paper, their record doesn't say so.
Yeah. They don't have as many wins as the Mets, but the season ain't over. So
they are.
I hope you're right,
They are
John.
hard to beat.
You said on baseball or the Tigers too. To be honest with you.
Well, they're whatever.
Well, and it seems like the Mets match up well against them. That bodes well for you Mets fans. The Mets match up well.
The Mets won the season series against the Dodgers.
Yeah. So I saw the Giants last night. Here's my take on the Giants. Chapman's out. He's hurt. There's nothing that jumps out to me about them. Ramos is a good left fielder. He's hitting .292. Matt Chapman's a good player. He's out. He's got 12 home runs. Okay. They got Wilmer Flores. They Willie Adames. There's nothing spectacular about them. However,
there never is, but
they
still
win.
Play well.
They win games.
Right.
They got 39 wins out of 69 games or 70 games or whatever.
You guys aren't letting me finish. That's what I'm saying. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, I think that they're going to be there, and they could. It would not surprise me if they really battled to win that division outright. So, yeah, I think they'll be there.
All right, John.
100% they'll be there.
They'll be there. So
they will be within striking distance in September 1st.
The only reason I might say no is because if they stumble, if they have a little bit of a prolonged streak, and we're coming up on the deadline, sometimes the Giants tend to have a fire sale and go, we'll get him next year. But I don't think they're going to do that this year.
I don't see that this year. I don't see that this year yet.
I'm going to say yes as well. I think.
Here's why I think they have a really good shot. It's the same thing with the Mets. Justin Verlander is their 4th best starting pitcher. Logan Webb has a 2.58 ERA. Robbie Ray, who's had Logan Webb has had 10 quality starts. Ray has had 9. Landon Roop has a 3.29 ERA, and has had 6 quality starts. They are made for the postseason. They have a decent bullpen. They added people like Miller and Trevino, and they've got a good closer. Their pitching's good. Their pitching is good, and I think they know how to win close games. And They're a dangerous team. There's nothing spectacular about them, but I'll tell you what, they do play in a tough division, and despite that, I think that I think they'll definitely be a wild card team. Without a doubt.
They play in a very tough division.
Yeah.
There's only
Well,
one,
we're-
there's
listen,
only
we're
one not
all
so
in-
good team in that division.
Yeah, well,
We're all
one
in,
horrible team in that division.
Well,
Who
being
almost
nice.
beat them last night.
I was being
Yeah.
nice.
Well, the sun shines on every dog's ass every now and then, or whatever the saying is.
12 times in 70 games. Yeah.
In 70 games.
Okay.
All right, so listen, we're all in lockstep.
66
Rays,
to be
yes.
exact.
Angels, no. Cardinals, no. Giants, yes. As
Yeah.
far as who is for real and who is for not.
There you
Yes.
Who is for real and who is for not. Maybe we should change the name of the segment.
Who's for real and who's for not?
Are they for real? Are they for not?
Hey.
All right, so French Open, we said we were going to talk about very briefly.
Yep.
Let me.
Well, I just think it's the passing of the torch. You know, I mean, I was hopeful that the Joker could win another one, but these two guys are going to be battling each other for the next 5 years.
Yep.
And I think
Till Djokovic
because
retires,
there's-
they'll be battling.
well, but because there's not a lot of depth at the top of, I think, men's tennis right now, I think Alvarez is positioning himself to become a majors. He could wrap up a bunch of majors. I could see him winning 12, 13 majors in the next 4 to 5 years. Easy. So he looked, Zinner kept it close. It was a great match, one of the best in a long time. This is the new classic matchup. They're both young, they're both really good. And I think this is the future is now, and these guys are just approaching the peak of their careers. And Alvarez has really impressed me. I'm telling you, man, it's his to win right now. I just don't see him faltering very much.
Yeah, he's the heir apparent and has been. He came on the scene and blew people away and won a number of majors, not quite a handful, I think. And people went, wow, he's so young and he's so good and he's going to dominate. And then he went through a period where he was in the mix, but he wasn't dominating, but he was still winning. And Djokovic was also still winning. But he really, I think, not that he'll never win again, but I think Novak's, has truly come to that point in his career where it is the beginning. I mean, you could say the beginning of the end happened a while ago, but now is the point where it's going to be much harder, I think, for him to consistently win or even win at all.
Well, they've won the last 6 Grand Slams.
Right.
But
Sinner is certainly ascendant. Look, he's by points, he's the number 1 ATP ranked guy. As far as being the best, he's probably the second best.
But he can't beat Alvarez. Alcaraz.
No, Alcaraz is not. But look, there's a handful of other guys that are right there. This is you got Zverev. I gotta figure out how to pronounce their names. Djokovic to a certain extent. Tommy Fritz, Holger Rune, Taylor Fritz, Holger Rune, Medvedev. Ben Shelton
Musetti, another Italian.
Yep,
really
Musetti.
Good,
so you've got some guys that can kind of, be a threat to win. It won't always, it kind of reminds me going way, way back when it was Borg and McEnroe, and then you had a cast of supporting players, who had their own time, Stefan Edberg and Lendl and Michael Chang and, Andy Roddick and all
later,
those. Right, a little bit later, but who were kind of around for the tail end of the big guns career.
Pre-Sampras, yes.
Right. So, yeah, you've got a bunch of guys who are technically still kind of ascending. So, yeah, I think men's tennis could be very exciting. Not just for Americans, but just play in general. And that final is one of the all-time great finals. Just those tiebreakers and the fact that it was a comeback win for Alcaraz. He is the best, and he will have to be knocked off his peg. He's the guy you got to take down. So
since 2022, Okay, in the Grand Slams, or since Wimbledon 2022. Joker, Alvarez, Joker. I keep calling him Alvarez. It's Alcaraz. Alcaraz again at Wimbledon. Joker, Zinner, Alcaraz, Zinner, Alcaraz. You could just see how this is panning out.
Yeah, they're the cream of the crop.
Yeah,
they're the cream of the crop, but not unbeatable.
No, and I think
we'll see if some of these other talents kind of
something
raise their
happens.
game.
Maybe, God forbid, an injury or something. I think I'd like to see Djokovic get that 25th, but we'll see.
I'm done with him.
I
it'd be nice, and he's the greatest in my mind, but I've just never been a huge fan of his.
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah. And
all right,
Coco Gauff won the singles against Sabalenka.
She did.
So good for her.
And made an appearance on Jimmy Fallon last night too.
There
Jimmy
you go.
Fallon's still on there.
Yeah, and he's still terrible.
Yeah, he's no Jay
but here's the thing. I thought this was
no Steve Allen.
He's no Steve Allen, thank God. Sabalenka complained about the wind, and it was tough to play in the wind. And I think it was Martina Navratilova or Chris Evert. I forget one of the two.
Chris Evert, yeah.
It was Evert who said, at this point in your career, as much as you've won, as much as you played, you should be able to play in the wind.
Play the wind.
Just sort of.
Yeah, your opponent was playing in the wind too.
Yeah, and Sabalenka is like, she's really, really good, but for me at least, it's hard to like her because you don't get to see much of her personality. There's obviously a little bit of she speaks English and stuff, but it's not her native language. And I don't know. It's for me, it's just hard to embrace her. I want her to win, and I'm not
Sabalenka, but
yeah, she's good.
I'm happy,
really,
Coco.
really good.
I'm happy for Coco Gauff. I'm happy for Coco Gauff.
And I'm not a particularly big Coco Gauff fan, but I was happy to see her win. So
it's just fun saying Coco Gauff.
Yeah, that's true.
She's also at the prime age for women's tennis, in that she's 21.
Yeah, which is the prime. It's not.
I know.
It's not,
she's 6.
It's not mid to late 20s anymore.
No, Sabalenka's 27, and
Yeah, these kids come out and they're good. All right, so that's our French Open wrap up. Wimbledon starts soon, and that's our Wimbledon preview. So, Johnny, you got some hot takes for us?
I got some hot takes for us.
Hot takes.
Those are hot cakes.
Well, the announcer's kind of old.
Hot takes.
The announcer's old. He doesn't know what he's saying.
He doesn't know what he's saying. There you go. Is it Harry Hanlon? That wasn't Harry Hanlon.
No, it was not.
That was not. We haven't shown the picture. We haven't shown the new
Harry Hansen, our official announcer. Yeah, he's a little camera shy.
Well, we haven't even shown our cartoon picture that we have up.
Which I look like one of your kids.
I like that. Well, see, I like the one. I like the one that was first posted, right? But I love the one that Pete posted yesterday, where it looks like you're like Harry. Looks like you're like
14. Yeah, he's clean shaven. He's looking like, what am I doing here?
What the
and
fuck
Johnny's
is that
just
all
like, yeah, Johnny's the Godfather, and I, as always, look confused.
There you go.
Whatever makes you guys happy.
I
have nothing to do with any of this.
The picture that was made from, I was looking confused. That was the idea. So.
There you go. That's funny.
Yeah.
But, all right. So
I do like the first one though. That was the but,
yeah. The one that Harry has the beard is probably the better picture.
Mm-hmm. So
I've had a beard since I was 14. So.
I know, but
he has had a beard.
The photo that was made from.
As have I.
The mask covers your face. So the machine didn't know you had a beard. 14. I had to tell it to add a beard. So.
AI add a beard.
It's a prerequisite in the town we grew up in. We had to have a beard at 14. So
not necessarily.
All right, so give us some hot takes.
Just the Greek women.
Just the Greek women. Oh, God. Anyway. Okay. It's to wrap up this show with hot takes. It's baseball hot takes. Here we go. All right. So this is for both of you.
Oh, okay, great.
Obviously, each one of these, there's 6 of them. It's baseball hot
geez.
takes. Well, they're quick. They're hot takes. They're
not. They're not hot or quick.
So we'll start with Harry. 77 Yankees or 98 Yankees?
98 was
hard, huh?
I think if they played each other, the 77 Yankees would beat the shit out of the
100%.
So yeah, I'll take Goose Gossage just fucking beamed everybody in the head. 98 was a special team.
It was a special year.
If you go through it position by position, which we'll do it I'll do it in a future sidebar. Then it gets really interesting, but I'll say 98.
98. All right, fair enough, Pete.
Well, I don't know. You get the greatest closer in the history of the game on the 98 team. You got, what was that kid's name that played shortstop?
Yeah, Bucky Dent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll take 77 because, I think there would be a lot of, I think there would be a lot of hit batsmen.
A couple, yeah.
But you might see some guys, if it's the modern rules where you get thrown out a lot more earlier, then the 98 team would win. But I'll take 77.
I think the only place
77 for what they were, 98 for what they were. That's what this is.
But they're both really great. I think the 77 team wins right field. I think they win catcher and number one starter. Third base, probably.
Yeah. Reminder, this is 77 versus 98, not 77 versus 88.
Yeah.
So,
right.
Dave Winfield.
Right. Okay. And just if I were voting, I'd say 77 too. Just to pay out. And 98, damn close. That was a hard one, but 77, I'd still go with. If for nothing else, the reason that Harry said the 77 just beat the shit.
And maybe I will. I'll do a video and kind of go through it position by position. But if you do it, which I've done before, because why wouldn't I?
Why wouldn't you?
It's pretty. You realize very quickly. Oh yeah. 77 team was good, but that 98 team, yikes.
Yeah, I think I actually liked the Yankees in 77.
Yeah.
So, whatever that's worth. So, they must have been
for
good.
what it's worth.
It was a really likable team. They were phenomenal.
I know. Hundreds of Yankee fans watching the program went, wow, Pete liked that team.
He liked that team.
Nobody cares.
And May of the following year, I caught I caught the Reggie Jackson foul ball in batting practice. It's a Saturday in May in 78 against at the stadium against the Royals.
Here's where we start to go down.
All right, I'll leave it alone. All right, next one. Here we go. Pete, you're this one first. 69 Mets or the 86 Mets?
86, baby.
86. Harry.
Again, I think if you take it position by position, 86, but I'll say 69 because fuck the 86 Mets.
Yeah, fuck those cocaine loving
fucking cokehead motherfuckers.
Hounds.
I'll go 86 on that one too. So
deviated septum my ass.
69, amazing team. Again, hard to decipher, it really is, but I'll go 86 on that one. All right, Harry, this is for you first. Ron Guidry or Roger Clemens?
Well, Clemens did it longer and had more dominant years. But Guidry in 77, 78, and then 78, 79 was unbelievable. But Clemens much better pitcher.
All right. Pete?
Gator. Clemens is a steroid head. He's a cheat, and we should keep reminding people that.
Okay.
Not saying that was he was a great pitcher, no question about that. But part of the reason he was great, particularly later in his career, was because of drugs.
There you go. And
Gator was great because of Schlitz.
Not for right. Not
Gator
for
weighed like 165 pounds. He was like 5'9", 100. He was a tiny dude. Fuck.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Not for not for just being on Pete's bandwagon here, but I agree. I got to go with Guidry on that one. Not necessarily because of the same reasons that Pete said. Right?
No one ever agrees with me because of what I say. Right. Well, Pete's right, but not because of why he said.
Not because of why he said he's right.
Here's the real reason he's right.
Again, just talking.
You guys are both really wrong, but okay.
Oh no, Clemens is a fantastic pitcher. I just if I was making up a team, and the last position I was filling was that fifth slot or whatever, and it was between Guidry and Clemens, I'm picking.
If you're filling a team and Clemens isn't picked before your first 5 spots, and you got dropped on your head. But anyway,
I'm not talking about Yankees. This should be all-time pitchers. Right?
Exactly.
Oh, you're putting Clemens in the top 5 all-time pitchers?
I think so.
All right. Yeah, fair enough. We'll have to do a sidebar on that too.
Yeah.
I'll have to make a note of that.
I'll make a note.
There you go. All right, Pete, this one's for you to start.
Get on that.
Tom Seaver or Jacob deGrom?
Seaver.
There you go. Kind of a beach ball.
deGrom's doing well, though, right? Despite
he's doing
Texas's
very well.
woes,
Yeah.
he's pitching well. But let me just sidebar here. Well, not sidebar, whatever. Sidebar, your runner. Is deGrom going to be one of those guys where is he going to be a Zach Wheeler where we go, Mets should have kept him around. He didn't get great till he left. I mean, he was great, obviously, but the injuries and stuff. Is he going to be one of those guys, or are we going to go, yeah, we got the best out of him. The Mets got the best out of him, and they were right to let him go?
No, I think
both. I think the Mets are going to be fine, and deGrom's going to be fine.
Yeah.
So, as a Met fan, will we lament that the Mets?
You can lament about.
You'll lament something, but not deGrom.
Yeah,
I agree.
There you go.
Actually, I agree with that.
Plenty
of other things to lament.
Right.
Harry, yours? Seaver or deGrom?
Oh, Seaver, man. Seaver. Mr. Met, man. When I think of the Mets, I think of Tom Seaver.
Of course. I agree with that, too. All right. This one is for this one. Oh, we'll start with Harry on this one.
Nope.
Bob Gibson or Sandy Koufax?
Koufax was great in the postseason but Gibson was a way more dominant pitcher. Bob Gibson is definitely a top 5 pitchers of all time.
All right.
I don't think he ever did he win a I don't know what his postseason reality was, because back then it was hard to get into the postseason. But Bob Gibson, amazing. Yeah, maybe the best pitcher of all time.
He was he was dominant and intimidating.
Oh yeah,
he brought it. Who was the other pitcher?
Sandy Koufax.
Oh, Koufax.
Bob Gibson. Bob Gibson won 2 World Series, 64 and 67.
I mean, Sandy Koufax is no Ron Guidry,
but he's no Ryan Tannehill either.
That's right. Wow.
And I don't care how hard he tries. He's no Coco Gauff.
No.
No, he will never be mistaken for Coco.
Or Tiny Hands Johnson, but that's besides the
Yeah, he was 7-2 in the World Series. Those were he pitched in 9 games in the because it was just the World Series, and he won 7 of them. And he was
and both the World Series he won, he was the MVP in both of them.
Yeah, and this is why sometimes I know what I'm talking about, but then the stats just sort of back it up. His ERA in the World Series in 9 games was 1.89.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So Gibson. And by the way, Tiny Hands Johnson.
Hands Johnson. There he is, right there.
He agrees.
Hot takes.
Do we have more?
No, it's one more, but you still didn't say.
By the way, I just want to say one more thing on Bob Gibson. One more thing on Bob Gibson. Yeah. He pitched 9 innings in every World Series game he played.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
I think he's the best pitcher ever. I mean, just
fair enough. Okay, one more, and Pete can start this one. Field of Dreams or Bull Durham?
Oh, that's as easy.
Is it though?
Yes.
I mean, it is for me, but I'm just curious if it is.
It is. There are some great moments in Field of Dreams.
Is there?
But Bull Durham, that's the one for me. If you're clicking by, you're stopping. Either for the rest of the movie or for a certain moment. There's several things that you go, I'm just going to wait to see this scene. And I've seen it 85 gazillion times before, but I'm going to watch it anyway because I'm just flipping through. And I'll probably end up, if not watching the whole rest of the movie, coming back to it. Especially if I'm waiting like in between innings in a baseball game or, during like a hockey intermission or whatever, which seems interminable. So yeah, Bull Durham, more stuff that I will wait for than Field of Dreams.
There you go. Harry?
Susan Sarandon.
So, Bull Durham?
Better than Bob Gibson and Ron Guidry.
Yeah.
Susan Sarandon.
Susan Sarandon or Roger Clemens?
Susan Sarandon.
Now, while I
the only you could go through a list of a lot of people. The only name that will beat Susan Sarandon, and it'll be a tough one, is Salma Hayek.
It's Bob Gibson.
Salma Hayek.
Yeah. While I love the movie Bull Durham and agree, I will turn it on every single time that I see it. It will stay on and everything else. And Susan Sarandon, I agree with everything both of you just said. But for me, Field of Dreams edges it out. I just love that movie. It's my number one
cheesy.
favorite.
Of course,
I don't care. I love it.
I know
no, it's good.
You like the cheese. You're a sentimental dude.
Well, let me ask you guys about.
I like that about you.
Speaking of cheese, let me ask you guys, where does The Natural? Where's The Natural rank?
Major League's better than The Natural.
I like Major League better than Natural.
The Natural's okay. It's okay. I thought it was a little. The acting wasn't great in it. I didn't think the acting was great. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a fair point. There's a lot of people that don't love it. Certainly as much as I do. I think for the cinematography, the way it's shot and the look, and it's and I always when it's on and I'm watching it and my son is nearby, I make him come in and I go, "You hear this music? If you write music like that for a movie, sometime you'll be set for life. You'll work. All you got to do is just write one theme that ever, But yeah, for me, it's one of my favorites. But I know I'm in more of a minority about that. Johnny?
Sometimes it cracks my top 5. It's definitely in my top 10. But sometimes it cracks my top 5. I would say probably 50% of the time it'll crack the top 5 at 5. So it's up there, but it's definitely, Field of Dreams and Bull Durham. Field of Dreams and Bull Durham for me are 1 and 2, Major League's 3, and we can go from there. But Natural occasionally will be 5. Sometimes it'll be 6 or 7. It drops. Depends on the mood I'm in and what I'm watching and what's on. The time of year,
It depends on how many movies about baseball that I've seen 100 times before I'm watching that day.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
If I'm only watching 4, it's not cracking the...
Favorite fictional baseball manager now, Wilford Brimley is up there as Pop Fisher.
Yeah, he was good.
Oh, come on. You got to love Lou Brown, right?
I'm saying he's up there. I didn't say he was number 1. Anyway. All right. Are we done?
We should do that. That'll be on the next hot takes.
Favorite?
That's it. There you go.
Wilford Brimley movies.
And while we're on baseball, just to let you know,
that'll bring in the TikTok.
The Mets shut out the Nationals tonight, 5-0. And to Harry's point, David Peterson pitched a complete game. 9 innings.
Mets pitching is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. You guys should be really happy. By the way, the Pacers up by 4 at halftime. And the Yankees are up 6-0 for all of you who like the better end of New York.
Who are they playing?
That's the northwestern end of New York, not necessarily the better end.
I just want to say one thing about the Yankees, and it's not what you think I'm going to say. Okay. DJ LeMahieu, batting .284, filling in at second base, puts Jazz Chisholm, who's been pretty good since he's been back at third base. I like it.
How many at-bats? How many at-bats has LeMahieu had?
Well, he's been playing quite a bit. I can answer that for you right now. He's had 65 at bats. He's played in 21 games. So
he's played about a third of the games, you'd say.
Oh yeah, but he's making contact, and
I'm not saying that's disparaging. Right?
Well, and he's had some clutch hits, and look, the bottom end of their lineup is starting to produce some runs. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that LeMahieu and Chisholm are they get some time. Chisholm drives me nuts. LeMahieu, of course, I want him to bounce back, but that's a big thing for them. Giancarlo Stanton.
Giancarlo Stanton has been
played in an assignment game.
He played in Somerset today.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
We're looking all right. We need a starter. We need 2 starters.
He'll be back DH very shortly.
2 starters. Brian Cashman. Hey, Brian Cashman. Yankees need 2 starters. All right.
All right, there you go.
I guess
Fair
that'll do it.
enough. All right, that'll do it.
All right.
That will.
So, see you guys in 2 weeks.
See you in 2 weeks.
See you in 2 weeks. There you go. Works for me.
Bye, everybody.
All right.
Thank you all for watching. For those of you listening to the audio podcast, a passel of thanks for listening. You're all really swell. Visit our website at www.getonwithitpodcast.com. Once again, that's getonwithitpodcast.com. Like us and follow us on all our social media. Go to Instagram, Facebook, and X and search for the Get On With It podcast. All of our shows are available on YouTube on the Lager Room channel. Just click the live tab to reach the show archive. The video podcast goes live on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook every other Wednesday at around 7:30 Eastern Time. You can find the audio podcasts on our host, Spreaker, as well as your favorite platform. If you haven't already, quit your dilly-dallying and subscribe so you will never miss a show. Thanks again for joining us. Have a great rest of your week and watch lots of sports. For the boys, this is Harry Hansen saying, see you in a fortnight.